Welcome to the second episode of HexGameAdventure series. Today we'll create the hex grid in Unity. So let's get started. First, let's go back to Blender, select the hex model, and then press N, which will bring the transform pop-up. So if you check the dimensions values, we have X is 2 units, Y is 1.73 units, and Z is 0.3 units. We will focus only on X and Y axis, which will be converted to X and Z axis in Unity. Let's open our Unity project. Firstly, rename the sample scene to something like main. Create a scripts folder and create a script called HexGrid. Create an empty object in the scene, reset its positions and rename it to HexGrid. Then drag and drop the script to the inspector. Now, open up the script. Let's start by removing the script's content. Then we will add the dimensions from Blender. So declare a const float dimension x equal 2 and a const float dimension z equal 1.73. So let's declare the width and height of our grid. So serialized field private int width and assign 5 to it. And then serialized field private int height and assign 5 as well. Now we'll create the method, so void create grid, and let's call it inside the start method of our HexGrid script. Now we need 2 for loops, one for the rows and one for the columns. So it goes from 0 to the width, and the second one will goes from 0 to the height. So now we need to find the X position and the Z position of our hexagons. So let's step back and find out how. So if you would imagine this hexagon inside a grid, if you want to go to the right, we need to translate by the 3/4 of the dimension of X and up by the half of this dimension of Z. But for the same column, we need to translate by the dimension of Z entirely. So the X position will be X multiplied by the dimension of X multiplied by 0.75. The Z position will be Z multiplied by the dimension of Z. Now we need to declare the game object that we will instantiate. So we'll declare a serialized field private game object and called hex prefab. Then we will declare var hex equal to instantiate our hex prefab. Now we need to declare our position. So it will be var hexagon position equal to the vector 3 of X position, and the Y will be 0 and the Z will be Z position. Now we can add it to the instantiate function, and then we can add the rotation, which will be quaternion.identity. Now we can assign the hexagon will be the child of this transform. So now if we go back to Unity, we need to have the prefab that we will instantiate. So select the prefab folder and then delete what is inside, and then drag and drop the hex to this folder. Then delete it from the scene. Now we can select the hex grid and assign it to the hex prefab. Now if you hit play, we can see that we have our grid. It's not completely what we wanted, but it's almost there. You can notice that in the odd columns we need to translate our hexagon in the z-axis by a certain amount. For that, we will declare a variable called isodd. So if x modular to not equal to 0, it's not equal to 0, so we have our odd column. So we will add to the z-axis, to z position. So if it's odd, we need to add a certain amount, which is the dimension of z divided by 2. Otherwise, we'll add 0. So if we go back to Unity and then try to play again, we can find that we have our grid nicely done. So now we can change the width and height as we want, and then click play again. We can have our grid again. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. See you next one.